Well, obviously, I'm here and my wife is here and she's still pregnant. So we've had no baby yet. But we're going to talk about it today and traits you do and don't want to pass on to your kids and a lot more. So let's start the meeting.
Whatever you're going through, you will get through it because you're here. And that means you are not alone. This is the Meaningful Meeting. Now your host, Ace Cannon.
So this is a little different than a normal edition of the Meaningful Meeting because theoretically we're supposed to be home with the baby right now. This is my wife, Amanda, who is 9 months and beyond pregnant, 40 and a half weeks at this point.
Yeah, tomorrow.
So we're recording on a Tuesday afternoon. Saturday was the due date. And it doesn't appear as if baby's coming today or any other day.
He is very comfy in there, you guys.
Today, rather than talk about a lot of the things we normally talk about on the Meaningful Meeting, how to move forward in life and all this, we thought it would be interesting to talk about family. Both of us come from interesting family backgrounds and things we do and don't want to pass on to our baby and much more, because I think we've both been through some things and have some pretty clear experiences. Like I definitely want to pass this on to our child, and other things that we definitely don't want to. And it's a little different for the two of us because I've have two kids, and this will be Amanda's first.
Yes, I only have a fur baby.
Yeah, so which doesn't count. So the backstory here as we start this edition of the Meaningful Meeting is that Dax, our baby's son's name,
Baby son.
baby son, he was supposed to be born. Saturday was the due date. It doesn't mean he was supposed to be born. And obviously we know the drill. A lot of times the first child goes past the due date, which this one has, and shows definitely no real signs of coming anytime soon at this point. So
no progress.
It appears as if this weekend we will be inducing labor as of right now. Mm-hmm. No definitive plans are put together, but that's kind of how it appears. Does that scare you? I know we've talked about it a little bit, but does it make you, are you comfortable because now we have a plan because Amanda's really a planner?
Yes. Yeah. Like they just called me and asked me if I wanted to come in right now to be induced. And I'm like, no. We kind of got something together. If you had called me this morning, I might have been more prepared. But no, the fact that we have a tentative date planned makes me feel better because I have been very anxious all weekend. I thought truly in my heart that he would have come at some point this past weekend. So now that I have a date to look forward to and I can get things ready, it makes me feel more at ease and excited.
Yeah, I still said tomorrow.
He thinks I'm going to naturally go into labor tomorrow.
I don't now. No, I don't think you're going to naturally go into labor.
Why not?
Because yesterday, going to the doctor, he said, there's no sign of anything beginning
Yeah, but
to
things
happen.
can change.
I know they can. I'm just saying, it just seems it's like, to me, it's almost like once they made the decision or we kind of put a tentative plan in place, all to be reevaluated on Thursday. It's kind of what we know for the most part what's going to happen. I just kind of feel like that's what's going to happen now.
Yeah. We'll see.
Which is good. At least it makes you feel more comfortable.
I would like to go naturally, but
sure.
I'm going to trust God and know that, he's going to take care of us no matter what.
So let's get into the background a little bit. Amanda's parents divorced when you were how old?
5.
Okay. And then your mom remarried when you were how old?
6.
Okay. So Steve, the guy that she's married to now. And then my parents divorced when I was 10. I was in the 4th grade. It's either 9 or 10. They separated then, and then it took a couple years before they actually divorced. First day of school, 4th grade, because my sister, it was first day of school, and she was in kindergarten. It was her very first day of school ever when my dad announced he was leaving.
Not good timing.
And years later, I remember having a conversation with him. Like, when you're an adult, you're sitting around having a beer with your dad. It's like, what were you thinking? Like, what?
You pick just like the day after, the day before.
He's like, I felt so terrible about that for so long. Like I just wasn't thinking. I was just bad. I was selfish. I just wasn't thinking about how important that day was. It's like that was really a problem from that point forward. So we've both had different experiences. My mom never remarried. My dad never remarried, but he did a long time with her. He was with Marianne for years and years and years for the rest of his life, but they didn't remarry until much later, after I was well into college. Maybe I was even out of college at that point.
Your mom, the love of her life was your dad, and for my dad, the love of his life was my mom, for sure. So.
Yeah, and my mom my mom dated a couple of other guys through the years. Both of her, there were two guys in particular. There were a few guys, but two that she dated kind of long-term, like dating, were both great, really great guys. And I would have been thrilled if she had decided to marry one of them, but she was never going to do it. And both wanted to. Both asked, but they talked about it, and she was just like, "I'm not doing it.
She's
it will not happen."
independent.
Yeah, she was like, I was not going to do it. So when it comes to family traits, what are some things that you look forward to sharing with Dax so that you hope get kind of passed down to Dax? What good traits would you like to see in him that you can identify from your side of the family, whether from your mom, your dad, whatever?
So my parents include my dad, who's my biological dad, David. Yeah. Yes, my husband and my dad have the same first and middle name, just fun fact.
Yeah. How weird is that? First and middle name. Exactly the same. Meant to be.
And then obviously my mom, Gigi. And then my third parent is my also dad, whose name is Steve. He's technically my stepdad, but he has been a dad to me since I was like 5-6 years old. So I'll start with my biological dad, David. I hope that Dax gets his sense of humor and goofiness, because when I think of my dad, who's no longer with us, that's the first thing I think of. And so just kind of the carefree, doesn't care what anyone thinks, just like his priority in life is to laugh. I really hope that Dax gets that. I hope he doesn't take himself too seriously or anything in the world too seriously. I hope that he just knows how to come back to a sense of humor at the end of the day. I know, like, when I would call my dad and have a bad day, he didn't really ever know the words to say to me, or he wasn't one to like give good advice, but he could at least always make me laugh. So I hope Dax gets that. From my mom, I thought about this one pretty hard. My mom is very stubborn in a good way. Like, she knows what she wants. She knows her opinion and she stands by it. So I hope that Dax gets that from her. And then she's also very honest. So when I really need advice, I always call my mom, and I know she's not going to tell me what I want to hear. She's going to tell me her genuine advice. And so I hope that Dax gets that wisdom from her. And then from my stepdad, Steve, if he could just be exactly like Steve, like, that would be amazing. Like, my stepdad is one of the best people I've ever known.
Real good guy.
He loves me like I'm his daughter. He would never, ever call me his stepdaughter unless it was a formality. Yeah. He's very hardworking. So I guess out of everything, I hope that Dax gets his work ethic, because I've never seen someone start from absolutely nothing and then become the success that my stepdad has. And then my stepdad's also goofy as well, or at least he thinks he is. So I hope, all around, I hope, Dax, including with, David's sense of humor, I hope that he has a good sense of humor. But yeah, that's all the good traits.
Okay. What about from you? Is there a trait in you that you, good one and a bad one, good one that you want Dax to get that you see in yourself, and one that you do not want to share with Dax?
I hope that Dax is adventurous. I'd like to think, especially when I was younger, I was very adventurous. I walked down my own path. I didn't really follow the crowd. I wasn't afraid to try things. So I hope that he, just does his own thing and isn't afraid to explore. And then the one thing I hope he does not get from me is my lack of patience. I really have.
He's doomed.
I have no patience whatsoever.
Neither one of us are very patient.
So I get that from my biological dad. And neither of us my dad was even worse than me, but we really have zero patience. So I really hope that he doesn't get that at all, because it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
I just don't see how we get out of this thing. I've thought about that a lot too. It's like, there's no way we get out of this without patience.
I try, but
and here's the bad part about it is that it's like I don't know if it's the bad part, but if I'm being impatient about something, Amanda will say, "Hey, just slow down, take a deep breath. You need to just be patient with it." And every time I think, who are you talking to me? And I know it goes the other way because that's the thing you're supposed to do when you're seeing it in someone else is try to help them through the situation. And you try to, it's okay. Just relax for a minute. We'll get through it. Take care of it. And I know she looks at me and thinks you have just freaked out because you couldn't find your phone a minute ago.
Yeah. Right before we started this podcast, he's like, this darn thing. And I'm like, just take a deep breath.
Yeah. I was trying to print something out of an email and it was put
between the two of us, Dax is likely doomed, but hopefully.
Well, the good part is you try to identify that and you be aware of it and try to, showcase a better side of yourself for your child.
Yeah.
Which usually doesn't
Hopefully
work.
Having Dax will teach me more patience as well, because I don't want him to see me. I don't want him to be himself and just expressing his feelings, and me have no patience for that. I don't want him to see that. So hopefully it'll teach me how to be a little more patient.
It's probably going to happen at some point.
At some points, yes, but I would like to not make it a habit.
Yeah, you try to think of all those things that you don't do and that you don't want to do, and you end up doing them all at some point. But kids are real. I mean, they bounce back from a lot of stuff.
Some things they don't.
I know. But I mean, it's what you show them overall. If they see who you are as a person, overall, I think that counts the most.
What about you? Good things from your parents and then yourself.
My dad's sense of humor, his ability to be in any room and be comfortable with himself and be engaging and entertaining. And I don't know anybody that said, and obviously people don't really say bad things, but I know enough people that knew my dad to say everybody loved my dad. Mm-hmm. My friends loved my dad. My dad's friends loved my dad.
Yeah.
Women loved my dad. Like he was just that guy.
I think he would have loved me.
Yeah, he got along. He got along with the ability to get along with everybody in a very engaging, real way, but not have to fake his perspective, his point of view. Like he had enough respect from people to say, no, we're not doing that, or I'm not doing that. Or when he was angry with someone, he could, talk about it and they wouldn't lose their trust or their faith in him. Almost like they trusted him more because of his honesty, I guess, in those situations. With my mom, so many things. She's honest, a voracious reader, so smart, always worried about doing the right thing, always doing the right thing, I think, which is really key. And making sure that she always tried to keep learning, which I was always impressed with. I thought that was awesome. I would love for him to get that trait. Bad traits for my parents. My dad, I don't want him to be a drinker.
I didn't know we were sharing bad traits.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I thought we did. I'm sorry. I don't want him. I would, from my dad, I don't want him, and it's just a difficult one to explain. When you achieve success, you have to work even harder then.
Yeah.
Don't rest.
Yeah.
My dad was the could pull defeat from the jaws of victory type guy. Like it got real. Every business he had, it got really good. Yeah. When it really got good,
he would
kind of take his foot off the gas. Be like, I'm gonna go buy a race car. We're gonna do these kind of, which is all well and good if you keep going forward in life. Bad traits about my mom. I'm
interested to hear this one.
I would like for him to not be. My mom could be, especially growing up. I know it was tough because of the divorce that she was just blindsided by all that was going on, but not be. I don't know what the word for it would be. Not be doomsday. Mm-hmm. Not always be. This is so bad. We're going to get through this. We could. She was very positive about us, but when it came to dealing with finance, there was always the financial stress of things. And we were aware of that because it kind of came up all the time. It seemed like it was talked about a lot, that kind of thing.
I can relate to that.
And it needed to be a little less, in hindsight, to me, it needed to be a little bit less.
Because look at you now.
Yeah, for both of us, for me and my parents. But yeah, I would like that. What was the rest of that question? I don't remember what all we talked about a minute ago. Oh.
Good and bad traits about you.
Good traits for me. Bad traits, patience is one among the many. Anger is another one. I hope I can teach him the ability to handle his anger a little bit better. and good traits. I don't know. I hope he's a dreamer.
Yeah. Oh.
You know, I just do. I hope he's a dreamer. I hope he wants to do great things and like don't just. And if you, I hate to say that. You know, I don't want you to settle for an average life. I want you to find the life that you want.
Yeah.
But I guess it's whatever that dream might be, to go be that person and not, you know, don't ever say, oh, I can't do that, or that'll never work out for me, or something like that. You know, just go be the whatever it is that you want to achieve and be. Go be it, you know, and enjoy your life.
Now here we are crying.
Wow. Yeah. So those are the main things.
Yeah. I guess I should.
What are you most scared about being a parent?
I think the world that we live in is the most frightening thing about being a parent. Without like getting into too much detail, I just really hope that I'm able to raise, you know, I prayed very hard for Dax and I had many conversations with God about, hoping that he would come to life. And I promised that I would raise him as a, God-fearing, God-believing man. And so I hope that, I'm able to do that in the society that we live in successfully and not let the world influence him. And without pushing too much of what like I want for him, I want him to have his own personality and beliefs, but I want to make sure that no matter how crazy the world gets, that he always has a baseline faith, I guess, to come back to. Yeah. So it's just, it can be, everyone says that though, like when our parents were having kids, like they were like, oh, this world is crazy. So the world's always going to be crazy. Like you just have to make sure that you're a very active and involved parent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, when I was born, we were in the height of, it was Vietnam, and they really thought like this is the end. We're done here. The world's coming to an end.
The world is always coming to an end. So I guess just like, I think it's a little more prevalent now because like, the schools are so affected. So,
social media and so much stuff
social media is tough to navigate. So just making sure that I remain true to who I want to be as a parent and not let the outside world affect him too much.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. What about you?
What am I afraid of?
Yeah.
Time.
Why do you say that?
I just am.
You take very good care of yourself.
I know. The main thing more than anything else that I'm afraid of, not even time as much as anything else, is money. I was very blessed to be in a great position with Peyton and Cade, and I was able to afford to do things for them and with them that they will never forget. Yeah. And I want to be able to do those things for Dax.
You will.
Right now is not a good time, but I want to be able to do that for him, and that means a lot to me. And it's a matter of pride more, than anything else. I want to be able to do those things
and just making the most of what we have.
I know, and I know, but
that'll be an important lesson for him to see too.
Yeah, it will be. But a lot of it is more, and then I'm not talking about like going on a big trip or something, but a lot of it's being able to do. I've always had this theory that I learned that I've told people for years. If they ask like, what's the most important thing to being a parent? Is that being a parent is all done in little 5-minute increments. I think there are 5-minute conversations here and there. In between this and that, there are little conversations where lessons are taught. And a lot of times we don't even realize it. It's you're sitting watching TV and you have a short conversation one day about something on TV, but there's a lesson in it. Or they have a question. And in that 5-minute response, it's not some grand gesture. And it's not, I'm going to buy you this and blah, blah, blah. It's them seeing who you are as a person and what you believe in based upon those little things. And those little 5-minute conversations accumulate over time. The money thing, a lot of it is just more the wanting to make certain that he has all the things that Peyton and Cade have. Yeah. And setting him up on a good path in life, or Peyton and Cade had. Sorry, Cade, don't have him anymore.
Oh, Cade is not a kid anymore. Oh my God. He's about to be 21.
Yeah. So.
Okay, what about growing up? Do you hope like the way you grew up, like what do you hope he doesn't experience or does about your upbringing? Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, does about upbringing. Oh my God, so many things. Friendship.
Yeah, oh my God, Ace has more friends. Like he has like a pile of different friend groups from like childhood to now. He has more friends than I even think I know people.
Childhood, college.
Yeah.
Band, radio. I've been very blessed, very, very blessed. And I'm super fortunate, but, yeah, I just hope that's the first thing, that having friends that you can count on, no matter what.
You have like 10 people you could call right now and they would like bail you out of jail or do literally anything for you.
I can count 13 people right now that I know I could call and they would be like, okay, what do you need? No big deal.
Can call my parents and hope that they want to help me.
I think a spirit of adventure.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid.
Yes. Yeah.
Just,
he is going to be outside. Yeah. Like I love Cade to death, but Cade's already talking about introducing him to like video games. And I'm like, not that there's anything wrong with video games, but like I want him to be an outside explorer
and that's
type
the way,
of kid.
And that's the way both of mine, grew up being outside a lot. And so, I want that sense of adventure. Mm-hmm. That like, hey, I don't mind. I would rather have to rein him in from time to time.
Yes.
Like I had to be like, you're not going to go ride your bike 20 miles away or whatever. That's not happening. But those things like, don't be afraid of, I hope he has more sense than I have. Like, don't be afraid of things like taking your bike out. And I bet if we took this and built a ramp out of it, we could jump something with this. That's what I want to be. I bet I could go, as long as you're smart, I bet I could go a little bit higher in this tree, or I bet I could do this a little bit faster than I did last time. That spirit of adventure, I think, carries over into the rest of your life.
For sure.
Quite often. What I would like him to have, a trait I did not have that I would like for him to have is confidence. From a different standpoint. I was real confident as a kid in my abilities, like in school and speaking and all that kind of stuff. But I was a good athlete, but I wasn't a great athlete. Mm-hmm. I was average. Yeah. I mean, I always made the basketball team, all that kind of stuff. I always made the teams. I tried out for the baseball team my freshman year, didn't prepare for it, didn't deserve to make it, didn't go back and try out again. And that's one of those things, like, I want him to be more, I want him to see, here's my goal. Now, to achieve that goal, I'm going to have to spend the next 6 months doing A, B, C, and D. And in hindsight, there are things I wish I had done. Like, I didn't understand how lifting weights worked.
Yeah.
I just knew I was tall and thin and I wasn't very strong. I could play, but they wanted you to go work out, and I didn't want to do that because I was embarrassed that I didn't know how it worked.
Yeah. Oh, he won't be afraid to work out.
Yeah, because nobody,
between the two of us,
and
he's going to be athletic.
It was so long ago. Nobody taught you, like, here's what you do.
It's very mainstream now.
Here's how it works, and here's what you need to do. It was like, you do 4 sets of 10 bench press, 60% of your max, for 10, then 80% of your max for 5. I was like, my max is like 100 pounds. I'm embarrassed I got to do the bar.
You got to start somewhere.
I know, but you didn't want to be in a room full of guys, not being one of the stronger people. You know what I mean? So yeah, that would be that thing, that ability to say, like physically, here's my goal. And if I'm good next year, I'm going to, rather than just know I'm going to make the team next year, I'm going to start next year. Now, what do I got to do? I got to work on my dribbling and my ball handling. So I got to do this and then stay with it. I never would stay with it. I'd start strong and be like, I'm going to do this. And then I wouldn't, follow through because I had a bunch of other stuff going on and whatever.
Man of many talents.
Yeah. What about you?
I'll start off with what I don't want him to experience in childhood. So I think you hit on the financial. That was like such a good example because my mom always, I think there's a point where you should teach kids the value of $1 and let them know like money doesn't grow on trees, but it was talked about way too much in our household, like to where I felt like I'm the reason that we're like financially burdened. Not that anyone would directly say that, but it was just talked about so much that I want to make sure that we're conscious of like how we're talking to him about money.
Yeah.
Cause I think it affects you like in the long run. And then I also, my parents were pretty strict. So I've lived a very fortunate life, like growing up. But my parents were very, very strict, and I would almost venture to say, untrusting before giving them a reason to be untrusting. Looking back though, about 90% of what my parents did was, I would do it to my child, but there's about 10% of it that I would not. And I think the biggest thing is I want Dax to feel like I trust him before he feels like I don't trust him without like a reason given.
Sure. That's interesting. My mom was very strict. I would say that my mom was very strict until you gave her a reason not to. I just never gave her a reason not to. Yeah. Totally different scenario with my sister.
Now, I'm not going to say I did not give them reasons not to trust me.
Sure.
But
I just thought it was a good way you phrased it. Like, you trust until you give me a reason not to, and then we got to start over a little bit. Yeah.
So I think I almost rebelled more because I was like, well, you don't trust me anyway, so I'm just going to like do this.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think like if they had shown that they trust me before they didn't, maybe I wouldn't have made some of these decisions that I did. But I think overall, like I turned out just to have also goes into the strict parent. So I just feel like I see so many parents that are hands off and they're not involved in the conversations their kids are having or the friends that their kids have. And without being overly strict, which I just criticized, I do admire how involved my parents were in my life. I don't think I would be as successful or where I am if my parents weren't involved, if they didn't push me to my best potential, if they didn't tell me, hey, I don't approve of that friend you're hanging out with. So I love how involved my parents were, even if it felt overbearing at times. Looking back, now that I'm about to be a parent, I appreciate that they were involved, because I couldn't imagine having parents that didn't care where I was, who I was with. I mean, who knows how I would have turned out if I just had free reign, which there's a healthy balance there. But I do hope, in terms of like looking at structure and how I grew up, that I do a good job that my parents did. Being
involved, the other thing about that is that I've always been impressed with, and it's those things that mean a lot as you grow older. And the older you get, I think the more you appreciate it. Is that my mom had 2 kids, single mom, school teacher, until I got older, never missed anything.
Yeah.
Never missed anything until it got to a point where I could drive and my sister had to be somewhere. Okay, well, I can't make it to today's game because she's got a game, or she's got a whatever she was involved in, that kind of thing. You understand it more then. That just, and it, even if you don't like, I didn't play a lot. In basketball, I sat on the bench, but she would still be there.
And you're always looking, whether your parents realize it or not, like you see them in the crowd and you know that they're there supporting you. And there's whether you realize it in the moment or after the fact, 20 years later, it's appreciated.
I don't know that it affected me, but I'll tell you a quick story. I don't know that I don't know. Let me put it this way. I'm sure it did in some way. I don't know exactly how it affected me, but I've never forgotten this, and I don't know why. When I was 12, we played, our baseball leagues were 10, 11, 12-year-olds. And opening day, I was the starting pitcher. I was 12 years old. I was the starting pitcher for my team. And my dad came to the game, and I was supposed to see my dad after that. I was going to hang out with him after that. We were going to watch some of the other games and hang out that day. And then we were going to go eat or something later on that night. And he came to the game. He was there for the game. And when the game was over, we lost. I think we lost 2-1. I did a really good job. I was very proud. I did a good job that day. And we just lost the game for whatever reason. And after the game, my mom said, as I walked up, she was like, well, Tony, go ahead and let him know now. I was like, uh-oh. He goes, something came up and he had to go. And I'm sure what came up was he was probably going to go somewhere and have a good time with his girlfriend or, all that kind of stuff. And I said, it's okay. It's fine. It's okay. Now, my mom was cool enough to realize they were going to hang out at the ballpark that day and watch the other games, because it's opening day, everybody plays. And so my mom hung out at the ballpark, and I went and sat with these girls that I knew from school and got to hang out. I had my uniform and I'd play my game.
On.
Yeah, just hanging out like it's in the 6th grade or whatever. And I've for some reason I've never forgotten that he didn't, that day. Like, damn, like this was supposed to be our day.
Yeah.
Like this was not. I did my part.
Yeah.
So I've always thought about that. Like, don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. You won't be. You're already an amazing dad to Peyton and Cade, and I know that you're going to be the best dad to Dax. Maybe even better now because you get to let loose and have a little fun while I get to be the disciplinary parent.
I'm absolutely not going to be the disciplinarian of this bunch.
You can't make me the bad parent though all the time.
I don't know, dude. It's your mom. What do you want me to tell you? Just do it.
My money is on that he's a mama's boy.
I'll be like, just do it. She's not going to be quiet. Just, please, for me, would you just do it? So, this is how it's. Hey, this is how it works, man. Just do it. Mm-hmm. I'll help. We'll take care of it later.
You're going to be a great dad, baby.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I'm really excited about it because I think it's exciting for us who we are as people working together to have a baby, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
We'll make a good team, and I'm excited to see what we created together and how cute he is.
Yeah, well, there's so many things you don't know.
I can't wait to see what he looks like, and he does have hair on his head, so I want to know if he's a redhead or a brunette.
And Amanda desperately wants him to have red hair, and I don't.
No, I kind of think he's going to have brown hair.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, you wanted it. You said you wanted
if
a red hair.
If it was a girl, I would want her to have red hair.
Well.
Yeah. He's going to be cute.
I just don't want. I hope he can get a tan. That's all. I just want him to be able to get a tan.
Well, I have a pretty olive skin, so
yeah,
I think
I hope he gets your skin. But redheads don't get that kind of skin, so that's all there is to it. So hopefully, well, no, because depending on if you listen to this like a week late, maybe. But if you're listening to this right after it's posted, well, we won't have any action.
No, probably not. He's comfy.
Yeah, so we'll wait and see what happens, but we'll let you know as soon as it happens. But
we are very blessed and very excited, and we appreciate all the love that you guys have shown us over the past 9 months. Even though someone really said I've been pregnant for years, but it feels
that
like
way.
it.
It does feel that way. You've been pregnant for a long time.
It's been a lot of fun. I'm very blessed.
What's also fun is remember that Amanda has not had a drink of alcohol because she was 52 days. Is that right? Into
58.
58. Oh, you're 58 into 75 hard. Mm-hmm. So she had been 58 days without a drink when she found out she was pregnant. Mm-hmm. So she hasn't had a drink since last August.
Yes, and my birthday is this Sunday, and I really don't want Dax and I to have the same birthday, not because of I don't want to share my birthday. I just want him to have his own day. But the motivation is there to have this baby before my birthday so that I can have a nice little drinky drink, I mean, my God, I'm just going to be sober for the rest of my life, I guess, and pregnant, but we'll see.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, I love you. I look forward to it.
I love you, babe.
Thanks for coming to do this. I thought it was fun. And we need to save this and make sure we have it, to have it for Dax.
Yes, for sure. Right.
So we'll keep y'all posted as to what happens. And hopefully we won't be back here again next week doing this.
Now, whatever you're going through, you're not alone. You are a part of the Meaningful Meeting, presented by the Radio Network. Copyright ATJ Inc. 2022.